Hey guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan, that's Tyler, that's Jordan, and in this video we are going to be talking about players who we think are going to break out and have big years in 2020.
Yeah, this should be a fun video. Maybe some bold predictions in this video. We'll see. I know Ryan's. I don't know who Tyler's going to talk about. They both know mine. So as usual, we'll start with here, and then we'll move this way as the video goes along. Now, if you're a follower of this channel, you might already know who I've been talking about. I've been high on this guy, and it was kind of just randomly how I started getting high on him, and now I'm just really, really into this guy right now. I think he's going to have a great year, and if you watched our live stream, he was my pick for the Defensive Player of the Year. Now, if you don't know who I'm talking about Bradley Chubb, the defensive end for the Broncos. I think he's going to have a great year. Also, by the way, just wanted to mention this. I talked about the live stream before. That was really fun for us. Mm-hmm. So if you tuned into that, thank you so much. And if you did not, well, then you should next time. If you want to see more, let us know because we really enjoyed doing it.
It's still up, isn't it?
It's still up, yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
You can still go watch it. So you can still go ahead and watch it as well. It was very fun for us, and I think it was entertaining. Anyways, let's get to the actual point of this video, and I'm going to talk about Bradley Chubb for a little bit. So I have his stats pulled up. If you remember from last year, he got injured early in the season. He started 4 games, and then he was out the remaining 12. They didn't make the playoffs, so that was it for the Broncos. So he missed 12 games last year. So his stats for last year weren't crazy important. So we'll go to his rookie season. In his rookie season, he got 12 sacks. He got a fumble recovery, 2 forced fumbles. Now let's look at the sacks first of all. Looking back at 2019, which was last year, and some sack people. He got 12 sacks. Another guy who got 12 sacks last year, Preston Smith. Aaron Donald was in that range as well. Robert Quinn, who is now on the Bears, was in that area as well. So some really good people. And that was his first season, his rookie season. Last year he didn't do as well. I think it was maybe because of the injury. He got 1 sack. One sack. And, it was limited time.
Very limited.
So he got 1 sack and 1 forced fumble. So still not awful stats, but maybe for 4 games you'd be more hopeful than that. But I think he's going to have a great season this year. I always talk about he's lined up opposite Von Miller. They have such a menacing defensive line there. In Mile High City, they got Vic Fangio as the head coach, a defensive head coach, not something you see too often in the NFL anymore because it's mainly offensive coaches. But with Vic Fangio, the defensive head coach, really rooting this team up and making them better, I think that Bradley Chubb is going to have a great season in his junior season. You usually don't say junior season. It's basically, you could kind of say this is a sophomore season.
Yeah, redshirt sophomore maybe?
Yeah, redshirt sophomore. We can go there, I guess. It's definitely a little bit different, but it's close to it. I think he's going to have a great season. So what do you guys think?
I could definitely, see that. And I think you make a great point with that being a kind of team with a good history defensively. You look at back when they made their Super Bowl run in the year of Super Bowl 50, they were primarily a defensive team with Peyton Manning in the back end of his career, obviously. So especially with him coming back from injury, and him, playing on a great defense with the defensive head coach, I could definitely see him and that Broncos team having a big year.
Yeah, I'm with you again, Jordan. You've talked enough about Bradley Chubb, right? Let me talk about him a little bit, all right?
I was going to say one more thing. I was just going to say you have high expectations for a guy who was picked number 5 overall in 2018.
I mean, he was
a lot of people thought he was going to go 4.
Yeah. He was picked there for a reason, that high in the draft. The talent is definitely there, and Jordan's right. A lot of things he said are right, but the point he brought up about Vic Fangio being the head coach, that is a huge help to it. The uniqueness of that team, I talk about it often. Whenever we're talking about the Broncos, I talk about their defense because it's led by Fangio, who was with the Bears, and we know what it's like to experience Fangio, as we're Bears fans. Me and Jordan are, Ryan the Texans fan. Mm-hmm. But Jordan, I'm with you on this one. This is a great pick. Kind of an underrated guy people might be forgetting about, so watch out for him.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Ryan now.
All right, I got another.
We each have one, by the way, that we chose out of all the players.
So, this is a guy that I really think is going to have a big year, and that's Josh Allen. Which one you asked? The offensive one, the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. It's kind of crazy
Way
to
be
think.
Specific.
Yeah, well, you never
There's
know.
2 of them.
Yeah. Don't want this to get out of hand because there's 2 of them.
I think the other Josh Allen too.
Well, I do too.
That's
but
also
not
someone who could have a standout year, but
he
wasn't actually the person we're talking about. The Josh Allen, the Jaguars
quarterback one.
Watch out for him too. I think he could have a good season. But
yeah,
unless that's Tyler's guy, we're not going to be talking about him in this video.
No, it's not. But that is a good one.
Yeah, and when you look at Josh Allen, it's crazy to think that him and Sam Darnold, they're kind of the veteran QBs in the AFC East now, because once Brady leaves, you got Stidham, second year, Tua was just drafted.
Unless it's Hoyer.
Well, yeah, but I think they'll start Stidham. I think it's Stidham. As a Texans fan, go Stidham. Because Hoyer's played with us, so yeah.
You've got Hoyer too, I think.
Yeah, he's been on a lot of places.
Josh Allen.
Yeah. This isn't a Brian Hoyer video. Maybe we'll do that someday.
Probably not.
Maybe he'll be the next Tannehill and resurrect his career and get overpaid. But anywho, Josh Allen. You look at this guy. Last year, his stats, 20 touchdowns, 9 picks. So don't exactly blow you away, but I'm really not talking about last year. I think that him and this Buffalo team, I think they're going to take a big step forward into true contention, not just for a playoff spot, but I think they're going to win that division and go further into the playoffs. And I think this is a team that last year you look at them and you think, man, maybe some games they lost, you think, okay, it's not their year, but they're a year away. Well, now we're a year in advance. You look at last year, they lost the Patriots twice, but they played them tough both times. They played Baltimore really well, and they've had 3.5 good quarters in their playoff game. So I really think that this team is not far, and Josh Allen specifically is going to be a huge factor in this because I think there's the potential there. He's 6'5", 237, so the size is there, the arm strength is great, the mobility is great. A lot of things that people liked about him coming out of college, they're still very prominent because this is still a young guy. I mentioned he might be one of the oldest starters in his division, him and Darnold, but still, he is a very young guy. I think he's going to get a lot better. And one main thing, because I was already getting high on Buffalo and Josh Allen towards the end of last season, I was thinking, man, this team's going to be good next year. They're just a year away. But when they made this move for Stephon Diggs and acquired him, I thought that was an outstanding move because you look at that Buffalo team, and they had some solid receivers, but they didn't really have a
John Brown's a good receiver.
Yes, but he's not a number one guy. He's good.
I think he was. I like John Brown.
I to an extent, but I think this is an upgrade.
Well, I do want to ask you now that we're on this conversation with the Vikings pick. I believe the pick that they traded with the Bills in the first round.
Yeah.
They got the guy that now is with the Vikings in Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
So which one of those, just really quickly, would you rather have at this point? Because that could have been the Bills that drafted Jefferson.
I'd have to think about that because Jefferson was a steal because the Eagles messed up before them. So
Jalen Reagor.
I don't know. I mean, I think Buffalo's ready to win now, so maybe you do take the veteran guy.
Yeah, that does make sense.
They're ready to win now. They want to get a guy who could kind of, Jefferson's going to be great. Don't get me wrong, but I think Buffalo is in win now mode. I think this division is theirs. I think they are the team to beat, and I just think Josh Allen's going to take a big step forward with the addition of Stephon Diggs. Cole Beasley and John Brown are solid, but they're not on the same level as Diggs. Now that Diggs is out of Minnesota, he shouldn't be whining, so that'll be good. You know how those receivers get when they get angry.
They'll get past 2 for 3 plays in a row, and they're yelling.
Yeah,
and screaming.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I think they're going to form a great connection there and, make a lot of plays. So, again, last year, Josh Allen, he didn't really blow you away, but I think he has all the traits necessary to become a really successful starter in this league. I think he's going to take this team to a division title and possibly more. Not ready. I'm not going to say anything yet, but hint, hint. And I just think he's going to take a leap, because I know people are going to say, well, Ryan, he didn't really do great last year, 20 touchdowns, 9 picks. That's not great, but I do expect him to have a big 2020 and beyond.
Well, you talked about his passing stats, and I'm right there with you on Josh Allen, but you talked about it a little bit, but I'm going to give you some stats on his running game, because that is something that is so important with Josh Allen. Like I just said, I'm with Ryan. I think he's going to have a standout year this year as well. So let's just take a quick look at his rushing stats. First off, in his rookie season and this season, he got over 500 yards rushing on the ground. Well, you'll be rushing in here. Anyways, he got over 500 yards rushing, 5'10" this year, 6'31". Last year, he also got over 8 touchdowns on the ground each year, 8 in 2018, 9 in 2019. So he's a very mobile quarterback, as Ryan talked about. He knows when to run. He's a physical guy, which could be a problem because sometimes he likes to put that shoulder down, get some extra yards, but he's a tough and he's a big quarterback. Ryan talked about that great arm. He's got a nice team building around him and also a great defense around him that could definitely help him out in the future. I think he's going to have a great year.
Yeah, I think he'll have a better year. I'm not completely on the Bills hype train as much as Ryan is, but that would be a conversation we could have as we get closer to the football season. Yeah. Right now, let's go to my pick for this, and neither Jordan or Ryan know who I'm picking with this one. And I don't know if you could say this is exactly a standout year because he had a pretty good year last year. Didn't get what he deserved, which was the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Nice. And I'm going with Josh Jacobs on this one. Nice. To me, he was the guy that should have won that regardless of I know he didn't play 3 games out of the 16 that there were. He played in 13. But he was over 1,000 yards pretty nicely with 1,150 yards. 3 games more, and that could have been even higher. 7 touchdowns. They didn't really run too much in the red zone. That was a little tough for him. His longest run was 51 yards, so he can burn people. And he had 1 fumble, which is very impressive for the 13 games.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, this is a guy that's flying under the radar very much so right now. When everyone's talking about second-year players, it's a lot of Kyler Murray and the quarterback talk and all of that. But don't forget about the one running back that was drafted in the first round, in Josh Jacobs, who was really good for the Raiders last year and didn't get the attention he needed. Watch out for him this year because he could be the next. We always see a running back every year that seems to pop up and really show out. 2 years ago with Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey last year. Ezekiel Elliott has been there. And now this year, I think this is the year that Josh Jacobs says, hey guys, look, I'm the best new running back here. And might put up the best stats of any running back in the season. That is a bold prediction, but I'm going to say it.
I think he could have a great year. I like all of ours, really.
Yeah, and you look back to this year's, we look at this year's draft and last year's draft. Josh Jacobs was the absolute number 1 guy in that draft. Like, he was ahead of all of them, and most people had a mock going to the Raiders or whatever pick.
Yeah, I think we all got that one right.
I think we all did get that one right.
24.
Yeah. But either way, he's a great running back. Tyler talked about he got over 1,000 yards this season, only played 13 games. One thing I would like to see from him is to get more involved in the passing game. He only got 166 yards in the air, but he is a rookie, so he can learn that in the future. I think he's going to be very good, a very underrated guy. And he averaged 4.8 yards per carry, which is pretty good for a running back.
Not bad for a running back.
Yeah, not bad for a running back if you're going by that stat. If you give him to him all 3 downs, or if it's 4 downs, but all 3 downs until 4th down, he'd get a first down every single time.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've talked about these 3 guys. Like I said, we each picked 1 person, but I do want to say now, if you guys have any more people that you'd like to throw out there, I have a couple in mind. I'll let you guys go first. Do you have any more?
I could definitely think of some.
All right, you guys can try and think of some. I'll throw out some names I was thinking of. Kyler Murray has to be out there. Mm-hmm. Ryan, I know you don't like that, but it does have to be thrown out there. Drew Lock with the Broncos.
It can't be thrown out there anymore because it's been hyped up so much.
I mean, you're right, but it would still be a breakout year compared to his rookie season. DK Metcalf with the Seahawks, watch out for that. Mm-hmm. Defensively, might be one people literally forget about Quinnen Williams, but he was drafted really high in the draft and didn't perform well. So maybe he can make an impact there. I talked about Josh Jacobs that I was going through, and that was the one I decided after all these ones I was doing. Yeah. Let me continue to move on through here. Deebo Samuel was another one. He had a good year last year again, but could be even better. In terms of rookies, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I know Jordan loves that one. Justin Jefferson with the Vikings. Austin Eckler, running back with the Chargers. Now that he's a single running back there. I mean, there's plenty of guys that should be on the radar for to watch out for. So do you guys have any more to add on?
Well, I got one. I'm gonna keep this pretty brief. I just think that Alvin Kamara of the Saints, I think he's gonna bounce back a little bit. You know, he kind of had a down year this year.
I mean, it wouldn't be a great standout year because he had some great years in the future. But I do understand what you're saying. He had a down year last year.
I think he'll be. I think he'll be back, and I think that Saints team is gonna be really good again.
Me too.
Okay, Jordan, do you have any?
No.
Okay.
That's a lot of. I'm sure I could think.
That's all right. I mean,
I was actually trying to think. I would have thought of one, but I really didn't. Yeah.
There's more guys we're forgetting about too, and I'm sure there's gonna be one guy that we didn't mention that.
We're gonna end the video and we're like, how do we not say this person?
But
maybe we'll tell you who that.
Those are the people we are talking about right now, and more, like I said, that we are on the radar for. Let us know what you guys think. Which guys did we forget about, or which guys do you agree with us?
Green?
Possibility.
I wasn't thinking about that.
So which guys do you think should be on the radar for a huge breakout year in 2020?
Joe Burrow,
let us know.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yep.
All on our screen right now. I'm just reading.
Jonathan Taylor's also a good one.
Yes, he will.
Make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell. Like I said, comment down below. Tell people about us. Go watch our live stream. Be a part of this wonderful channel that we have going here. And with that, we'll see you guys later.
See ya.